Hello, 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 and we are here. This is PubShorts episode 131, the Christmas special. My name is Dr. KK, and I've tried to put on my best Christmas gear because I live in sweltering tropical Mumbai, and we don't have any Christmas gear. But my name is Dr. KK, and I'm the innovation officer at Trinka and Inago, and we have Tony with joining us is
A co-presenter, as we are very quick, soon approaching Christmas, is our good friend Santa,
uh-huh.
who is only joining. He's very busy at the moment. He's just coming to say hello, and then he'll disappear. He may appear again at the end of the episode.
All right, Tony, please introduce yourself and the episode and everything else.
Yes, hello everyone. I don't normally wear this ridiculous hat, but nevertheless, here I am. I'm Tony O'Rourke from Inago. I look after our publishing partnerships. This Welcome to PubShorts, which is a regular podcast KK and I record on different aspects of the scholarly publishing world. And we like to give each episode a musical theme and name the episode after a song. And knowing KK's love of 90s and noughties pop music, he's picked the song by Keen Somewhere Only We Know, which I think was from 2003, 2004.
Hmm.
The song's picture of a hidden important piece fits this week's stories about the back end world of publishing, integrity hubs, ethical infrastructure, APC policies, and AI era workflows that most people never see, but science completely depends on.
Wonderful. I would never have equated this Keen song to an integrity related episodes. But thanks, Tony. You do such a wonderful job. If nobody has ever told you this, you
I
should be.
thank my 4-year-old my teacher when I was a 4-year-old to help me to read.
All right. So moving on with the first story. Are you ready, Tony?
Yes.
This is a feature. So let me shift my screen. Okay, there you go. This is titled "Building Ethical Infrastructure in Peer Review: Tools for Strategic Evaluation and Reform."
Yeah.
So this is obviously a longer than usual article. It presents 4 tools to help build ethical peer review infrastructure. These tools are the ethical infrastructure pie chart, the ethical infrastructure checklist, the audit scorecard, and the peer review ethics heat map. So interesting. So these are stated as practical, tangible, and adaptable for scholarly communication stakeholders. So what are these individually? So the ethical infrastructure pie chart visually shows the layers of healthy publishing framework. The ethical infrastructure checklist helps assess if essential components of ethical framework are present, covering technology, leadership, training, incident management, and data monitoring. The audit scorecard helps users rate the importance of ethical values and assess alignment with current practices. And the peer review ethics heat map compares different peer review models against ethical criteria, showing alignments and trade offs. So I'm just scrolling through. So this is a heat map, and this is the last thing that I just talk to you about. I mean, these are proposed as things that could be sort of could be integrated into publishing workflows to help improve the whole sort of peer review process itself. My question to you is this: these wonderful sort of from a conceptual point of view, wonderful ideas, but will publishers want to integrate this into their solutions?
I think they will. I'm not saying this is the solution
Hmm.
to the question whether AI will be used in peer review. The reality is
Hmm.
AI is already being used in peer review, and that publishers are looking at tools to improve the process of peer review to support the reviewer. I don't think it won't be used to replace the peer review. I don't think, or at least not yet.
Hmm.
But certainly the use of AI in peer review is increasingly a reality.
Hmm.
And I think having dashboards and charts and checklists like this will help in the implementation of these tools.
Right. Moving on to the next story. This is from the Journal of Electronic Publishing, the modal mode of thinking about scholarly publishing. So it's an interesting article which argues that we should pay more attention to how different mediums affect how we understand scholarly work. So the author criticizes the common focus on just the text in academic publishing, which I think we are all sort of guilty with in terms of only focusing on the text. He says that this focus on text is often overstated. I think that's the meaning. The article suggests looking at examples of multimodal publishing. This means publishing that uses more than just the text. New technologies have always influenced how scholars publish. The idea of medium. Uh, wait, where am I? Yeah. The idea of medium became clearer in the mid 20th century. Even with new mediums, scholarly publishing has largely stuck to text-based formats. This means we might be missing out on other ways to share knowledge. And the author calls for media scholars to study this aspect more. And he thinks that such studies can help us more in understanding the impact of different mediums on scholarly work. And the article also highlights that the medium itself is important, and different mediums change how we experience and understand the information.
Yeah,
This is overall, this is a very sort of interesting aspect, and what I call anything that goes beyond the standard research article would be something called as publication extenders. That's a term that I use, and I
yeah.
want more and more different types, including multimedia, immersive, for example, websites to sort of explain a website to explain what the research is contributing, etc. And I want that, and so I'm totally with the author. So I want to hear your perspective on this.
I think my analogy for this
Mm.
is the need for a greater public understanding of science. And I look at how funding agencies, for example, increasingly over the last 10 years plus, have been trying to determine their kind of funding decisions for new research around
Mm-hmm.
the kind of impact this research might have by looking at sort of the impact that
Oops.
previous research has
Yeah.
had. Um,
Go on,
so
Tony. Hmm.
again, this is no different in a sense. In terms, this is an extension of saying, well, look, we accept the fact that um, scientific communication is not limited to a single mode, and we need to be able to track the impact and the effect of that mode
Right.
um, when we're considering the best way of promoting this piece of content or letting the world know about this piece of content. There are 4.55 million articles published every year,
Right.
and it's absolutely impossible for all of those articles to be promoted in exactly the same way. In fact, many will never need to. But for those that need to have it, I think it's really important to be able to measure and to determine what is the most effective way of communicating
Right.
my research. I mean, I don't want to use this as an ad, but I know for example, we provide tools to researchers where they can communicate their research more effectively.
Mm.
Whether it's AI generated summaries, human generated summaries, videos, whatever it might be.
Right.
There's a whole range of tools within our publication support service that can help the author to communicate. But you need to understand how that impacts
Yeah.
on the understanding of that research.
Thanks for covering me. I accidentally closed the window that I was supposed to share, and I'm going to go back to it. Just a second. Here we are. So this is what we just finished talking about, and I'm going to go to the next article, which is a very interesting article on the Science Editor. It's titled "The STM Integrity Hub: The Current Status and Recent Developments." So the STM Integrity Hub, if you were not aware of what it is, this is a good article to sort of catch yourself up. It is a collaborative platform developed by STM Solutions in 2022 to combat research fraud in scholarly publishing, and it was created in response to the increasing problem of paper mills, which have been found to submit a significant percentage of fraudulent manuscripts. So it was a threat in 2022. Things have become even worse. So, Tony, if you're not aware, the hub allows publishers to share data among each other on suspicious submissions while using detection tools such as those recommended by COPE and STM. And the core
Yeah,
idea behind this STM Integrity Hub is that collective action is more effective than individual efforts in detecting fraudulent activity.
absolutely,
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
right.
No surprise there.
The platform has expanded since its 2023 launch, and it has a lot of very popular research integrity tools, for example, like the Clear Skies' Paper Mill Alarm and PubPeer. And it now integrates with 7 major editorial systems. And the a key feature of the Integrity Hub is screening for duplicate submissions across different workflows, which is, I think, it's a very useful thing if publishers collaborate and they know that manuscript has been submitted elsewhere, then maybe they don't need to repeat it. And obviously, many tools are integrated into the AI tool as different types of technology. So this is a wonderful article to sort of understand what the STM Integrity Hub offers and why there's a collective action is required in the research integrity front in STM publishing. So, any thoughts on this apart from whatever I just explained?
No, we've talked about the SGM Integrity Hub before. It's very clear that it's getting increasing
Mm.
traction within the community for providing, a trusted service from what should be a trusted organization. This is the organization that represents all the world's,
Right.
uh, well, the majority of the world's leading sort of academic publishers,
Mm.
and they're providing something which would help every single one of those publishers to screen out bad content and bad actors. So no, all credit to them.
Right, moving on to the next article. This is from Nature Machine Intelligence. It's titled LLM Use in Scholarly Writing Poses a Provenance Problem. I think we briefly discussed this.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. The main problem is obviously the provenance. When an AI is used, and we don't know quite where the original content is from. So this refers to tracing the origin of ideas and information. And LLMs can generate text that is influenced by their training and data, but it's impossible to know exactly which sources contributed to a specific output, which is a fair problem. This creates a situation where an author might unknowingly use an idea or an insight developed by someone else without giving credit. And this is not traditional plagiarism. Though traditional plagiarism is basically that if you state something which has been inspired, copied from somebody else, and do not attribute it to that person or that entity, then it's plagiarism. So this is similar to that, but not the same. And it's not the same because there is no intent to steal or a failure to cite directly. So the LLM's complex internal workings make it hard to pinpoint the exact source of any piece of text or idea. This fundamentally breaks the scholarly tradition of acknowledging the source, and this is a problem, is what this paper basically says. It's a correspondence paper. Interesting. I was able to read it when I got the link from the Nature newsletter. Any thoughts on this?
We've talked about the where the content should be licensed to LLMs,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that it's absolutely right to have that concern, because you need to be able to demonstrate not just your theory, but your sources for the theory, your background, your thinking to help you reach that conclusion. And if those sources are somehow hidden,
Mm-hmm.
um, then yeah, it creates a whole problem in itself.
Mm.
Um, and therefore the increasing importance then of tools, checking tools within the publisher or the publisher end, or the preprint end, or wherever it might be, to
Mm-hmm.
be able to determine whether this is unique content after all, or whether this is in fact regurgitated. So I mean, people like Authenticate have got tools that will help to identify that,
Mm-hmm.
at least whether content has been regurgitated in that way.
Right.
And things like our DocuMark tool will determine, not DocuMark tool, what we're talking about. No,
It.
anyway, there are tools that we have
Mm-hmm.
that will help to identify whether it's unique content or not. But it does highlight a problem.
No, yeah, I actually disagree with the fact that documark is sort of a provenance mark, in the sense that if a student is writing an essay or submission, and it will allow the student to capture if they have copy pasted from elsewhere, they
Yeah.
have copy pasted it from, and whether they understand it, and they can also provide
Yeah,
granular
I,
markers as
I,
well.
was, I agree with you,
Mm,
KK. But what tools like that don't do necessarily is to say, okay,
mm,
yes, this content is AI generated. It doesn't
right.
say which sources AI used to
Yeah.
reach that
Right,
conclusion.
right. I understand. DocuMark offers a similar. I mean, not a similar. It has in the this spectrum of provenance, I guess, signaling. It offers one solution, which is at one end of the thing, and it obviously does not address the problem that is
Mm.
being discussed here. Okay, moving on to the next story. This is a science story. It is Science Insider, I think, feature. NIH's proposed caps on open access publishing. Okay, this. Uh, always block. Oh my God, I hate these pop-ups. NIH's proposed caps on open access publishing fees Royal Scientific Community. So this is interesting. The National Institutes of Health is planning to implement new limits on how much funding grantees can spend on open access publishing fees starting next year. So the NIH aims to reduce article processing charges, that is APCs, a goal that many researchers support. However, a public comment period revealed significant concerns from over 900 researchers, institutions, and publishers. So there are some critics, obviously, and they argue that the proposed caps, which is approximately uh, $2,000 to $6,000, do not address the core issues that could unfairly restrict researchers from publishing in prestigious journals, impacting their careers. And the proposed limits may also conflict with NIH's zero embargo mandate, which requires federal funding recipients to make their work publicly available upon publication. And some publishers have policies against authors submitting versions of the papers to repositories, creating a difficult situation for researchers. APCs are intended to offset lost subscription revenues from open access articles, but they often come with from researchers' personal budgets, unlike journal subscriptions, which are typically paid by universities. And from a publisher point of view, major publishers like Taylor and Francis, Elsevier, and Springer Nature defended their APC, citing costs of peer review coordination, editing, formatting, and fraud prevention. And they argue that APC pricing reflects the value that they add, the publishers add, commercial publishers add, and that higher fees are associated with more selective journals. And Science Advances, an open access journal from AAAS, charges a whopping $5,450 per article for APC. So obviously we have concerns, and from the scientist researcher point of view, they believe that publication costs are justified, comparing them to cost of materials for constructions. And critics like some critics describe major publishers as exploitative, citing their profit margins. Obviously, you worked with publishers, and you've probably seen both sides of the equation. So considering all these things, how do you place the NIH sort of cap, and would that affect scientific publishing, especially from those receiving funding from it?
Well,
Yeah.
before I talk about that,
Mm.
can I just say this is the first time I think in my life I've ever used the word royal. I had to look up what royal meant. So this is so my Christmas learning is an understanding of the word of the verb to royal, to muddy. Um, I think yeah. There's, I've been involved in academic publishing since the late 90s, and I worked for one of the early one of the early adopters of open access. When I worked with the Institute of Physics,
Mm.
and we had one of the world's first open access, pure open access journals. I say pure. It was the first one of the first journals to have an APC. Certainly one of the first in physics to have an APC. Um, and whatever price you set, it was always too expensive for the author. You always having to set set rules or exceptions, or waivers where possible. What the publisher is trying to do is to say, look, we're looking to maintain and to sustain the journal,
Mhm.
and if the journal is going to continue long term, we need to be able to reinvest in that journal in terms of the platform, in terms of the services, the people, the quality, the editing, whatever it might be. There are costs of running a journal, the hosting of the journal. These aren't delivered by the magic fairy. These have
Mm.
to be paid for. And these things come at a cost. So so what they tried to do is say, look, if we're going to lose subscription income because more and more um, libraries haven't got the budget to maintain this, and we want to maintain the journal. How can we replace that subscription income? And
Mm.
one of the ways they consider that is through their APC. I mean, it's not the only model,
Mm.
of course, but however, there are cases where the APCs are very high. I mean, I know in some journals I've seen APCs that are in five
Mm.
figure dollars, not just four
Right.
figures,
Right. Right.
which are ridiculously expensive. But they're doing it because they say these are very high impact journals, they're very prestigious journals, and therefore, you know, if you want to have the right to have your paper made available free of charge, that comes at a cost. I may not like that, but it's market driven. Um, I will say I'm surprised there hasn't been more pressure to bring the APC down generally, and I think we have to start seeing more of that.
Right. And moving on to the last main story that we
Oh,
have.
sorry. Before I carry on, sorry,
Mm.
before I forget, and it's not just. It's. I think it's a little bit disingenuous to say it's just the big commercial publishers, because I
Mm.
can assure you, society publishers. There are many society publishers, university presses, who have equally as high article processing charges, or not maybe not as high, but
Yeah.
certainly higher.
Right, right. As it is mentioned in this article as well, there are some society publishers. But I think the main criticism from the people who criticized, which are reported in the article, it is against commercial publishers. Anywho, moving on to the next and the last main story, we have one from the Scholarly Kitchen. It is a guest post, and it's titled Three Ways to Innovate and Reimagine Publisher Value in an AI World. And it is written by Jay Flynn, the Executive Vice President and General Manager of Research
Yeah.
and Learning for Wiley. So, Jay talks about all the concerns related to AI and scholarly publishing, and mentions that STM Publishers or STM Publishing was an early adopter of technology, but there are current challenges like tight library budgets and optimizing open access. Are these he presents? These are challenges, but he presents them as opportunities for innovation. So publishers are more essential than ever because of AI and the need for trusted information and global research dynamics. So these are the reasons why publishers, as I think we have also talked about it, the role of the publisher in being the sort of gatekeeper, curator of authenticity of science in the modern world. And so, what does he suggest? Publishers should globalize their portfolios to buffer against shifts in research funding and output. And research output is growing significantly outside the U.S. and Germany. I guess he mentions Germany because of Wiley, and particularly in China and other regions, which is something that Tony, we have covered in many different ways. We'll also cover in this particular episodes. So the global diversity in portfolios, editorial boards, authors, and reviewers leads to better science and business, and mitigates risk. And publishers must also modernize their technology, moving beyond legacy formats like PDFs. Hello, we've been saying that for some time on PubShorts, and old procurement models. And AI presents an opportunity to redefine the digital experience and reimagine knowledge creation, validation, and connection. And modern platforms should be engines of trust and efficiency, preparing content for AI discovery. I think I could go on for a little more, but a very sort of well-rounded article in terms of sort of asking, imploring publishers to sort of do things with AI set in place so that content can be made discoverable. Your thoughts?
Oh, and Wiley, I think, are one of the publishers that are leading the way in terms of how AI is being adopted. They've been publishing. They've been publishing their guidelines, for example, in terms of the use of AI for some time, certainly the last year, if not longer. And they've got some very good, very smart people working in this area. So, I think if someone like Jay Flynn can come out and say this, then the world needs to listen.
All right, ready for quick hits?
Yeah.
All right, the first one, I will start with the nature story, related story. So this is, as I mentioned, China. The story is about China. So this is a report in Nature. It's titled "China Leads Research in 90% of Crucial Technologies: A Dramatic Shift in this Century." So this is a report by the Australian Strategic Policy Institute (ASPI), which highlights China's dominance. So what are we talking about? It is a stark contrast to the early 2000s noughties. Influenced me and my music. When the US led in over 90%, in 90% of these fields, the US now leads only in 8 areas, including quantum computing and geoengineering, reflecting. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, reflecting a significant geopolitical and technological power shift driven by China's focused investments and rapid advancements in fields like nuclear energy, synthetic biology, and small satellites. And so this shift is what I think is manifesting in the last maybe a decade or so of the China dominating research output, and in terms of citation metrics as well as everything else. You are not surprised, I'm very sure, but do you have any comments on this?
No, I mean, I suppose my only comment is I think, unfortunately, that some of the policies that have been in place in terms of research funding over the last few years in the US is only going to impact this further
Right.
over the coming years. Maybe they'll pull it back, but
Right.
I think it's a reality now.
Right, now I've given you the context, and so Chinese researchers and Chinese research in itself is the biggest sort of I think the hub in the world. And if you want access, our colleagues from Charlesworth have brought out something which will interest you. So this is inago.com press release. Charlesworth announces its WeChat author notification service is now available to Scholar One publishers. So what does this do? It has we have as in Charlesworth, I think our colleagues have integrated gateway WeChat notification service with Scholar One manuscript, which allows publishers using Scholar One to send real-time manuscript status updates to authors via WeChat. This service enhances author communication, especially in regions like China and the APAC markets. And authors receive push notifications on their manuscript progress directly through WeChat, eliminating the need to log into journal accounts. The integration, Tony, supports two-way messaging, status checks, and personalized alerts. And there is obviously mention of the gateway plugin and everything. So apart from being extremely proud of our colleagues from Charlesworth, do you have any further thoughts on how this could maybe radically change the way in which Chinese researchers get updates and eventually increase their chances of maybe publishing
I
in
I
global?
I, I don't think the world outside China, or the majority of the world outside China, appreciates quite the impact WeChat has had in China,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of how what people, not just researchers, everybody uses WeChat and tools like WeChat for. It's become, I hear stories of people using it for every aspect of their lives, whether it's for work or it's for planning, whether it's for leisure, whatever it is, it's used all the time. So the fact that now we have a tool which will help an author keep up to date with the status of their submissions, for example, which there, so many journals on Scholar One, so many journals use the Scholar One platform. It's going to be a huge boost for them.
Mhm.
And I really, I think all credit to my colleagues at Charlesworth to make this happen, because it's just going to make the process of understanding where they are,
Right.
and that frustration in terms of, is my paper going to be accepted? Is my paper, where does it sit in the workflow? There are very clear stages which they can now see through their WeChat notifications. All the publisher needs to do is turn it on.
Right. If a publisher, if somebody wants to know more about this service, where can they find more about it apart from obviously the
Well,
website? Yeah.
in the first instance, they can contact me, and I'll put them directly in touch with the WeChat team,
And apparently,
the
just click the
Gateway
link.
team.
Yeah, and the Charlesworth Gateway website, which is charlesworth-group.com, Charlesworth Gateway, is where you can find all the extra information that you require.
Indeed.
Right. Moving on to a brand that I'm very sort of excited about. But basically, it's from Get FTR, Get Full Text Research, and the title is enhancements. It's a product update enhancements to the Get FTR browser extension, which I believe I've hidden under something. I think it'll be here somewhere. Yeah, there you go. I have the Get FTR extension, and I absolutely love it. Anywho, so the browser extension has received an update designed to simplify the research process and key enhancements. Tony, remember, I mean, listen to this: integration with AI research tools, clearer license information, and direct saving to reference managers, and better tracking of retractions and updates. So that we are aware of better tracking of retractions. I mean, tracking of retractions and updates. So it has become better. But more importantly, there is sort of integration with the AI tools, as well as reference management and licensing related information. And I absolutely love it. And some of the AI integrations include things like Claude, ChatGPT, and Google Scholars Labs AI research tool, which I have been experimenting, as in testing out how it works. So it is a wonderful sort of step in the right direction. I mean, have you used Get FTR, and do you have any thoughts
I
on?
haven't.
All
No,
right,
I haven't used it at all.
right. So it
But I hear you. I hear you proponing its benefits very widely. So I'm sure one day I'll certainly get around to using it.
Right, and I think moving on to two other quick hits. The first one is a Silverchair announcement. Silverchair launches Scholar One Gateway to transform the researcher experience in Scholar One manuscripts. So, this new interface is designed to improve the researcher experience within Scholar One manuscript by providing a unified platform for submission and peer review process across a publisher's portfolio. So, I think this is the key thing. So, the information from, let's say, a previous peer review round at a different journal in a publisher's portfolio gets passed on to the next publisher, which makes things very easy and sort of it retains information. So this addresses common frustrations with a fragmented system and aims to strengthen publisher researcher relationships. Any thoughts on this, Scholar One Gateway?
No, except to say that ever since Scholar One was acquired by Silverchair
Mm.
last year, I can't remember. That's only the last couple of years. It's very clear to see that Silverchair are putting in the kind of strategic investments they're required to make the product even more valuable, even more useful than it is. So well done to them.
Right. And the last one, it's quite a nerdy one. This is from Robots Cooking, I think, Substack. So OXA, an open researcher container format for the age of AI. So it's a proposal for a new open standard for packaging scientific documents aiming at improving exchange and interoperability. And there are limitations to the current standard, which is MECA, which I do not know the expansion of. Tony, if you can find out, that'll be great. And Mecha standard, which relies on JATS XML and it's often too complex for pre-publication exchange. And so the new standard OXA's advantages include a JSON-based format, a preprint first approach, and modularity and community-driven developments. When I read this, and Tony, we work with different I think platforms, and we receive a lot of JATS XML, and I think this is probably the future for it. And I'm excited about it because of the preprint first attitude, as well as it is in a more sort of more wider used machine readable format as well. Any thoughts on this? Are you excited for the future with a better packaging standard?
I'm ordinarily, if we had this conversation in the outside world, I would not be excited. However, this is a NISO initiative,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the National Institute for Standards. And if NISO gets behind this, then you can be pretty certain that eventually this will become part and parcel of everyone's everyday life. And part of the issue is the fact, that there are different rules about how you submit,
Hmm.
and it needs to be as easy as possible for the author
Right.
not to have to worry about not just about the words that they're using, but how they prepare their manuscript. And if there are common standards that can be shared across all publishers, those standards can be taught to researchers and taught to research institutions. It just makes everyone's life a lot easier.
Right. So we both are I think giving a green signal for OXA. I hope to see it implemented soon itself. All right, I think that brings us to the end of episode 131 of PubShorts. Somewhere only we know, and I do very much hope that it's not just us who know where all the previous 130 episodes of PubShorts are published. So Tony, would you care to explain where listeners or
Well,
yeah,
in
audience? Yeah.
addition to this Christmas themed episode, other episodes of Pub Shorts are available on our YouTube playlist for Pub Shorts. Just go to YouTube and search for Inago Pub Shorts, and you'll get all 100 previous 130 episodes. Um, and we encourage you to leave comments. Please give us ideas, suggestions. We'd love to hear from you. Press the like button. Share this content with your colleagues. You know, spread the word.
Mm.
We really like to. We're doing this not just for ourselves. We're doing this for the benefit of the research community, to share an understanding of how technology and how funding and how policy is impacting on the world of research and research information. So we hope it's going to be valuable to everyone.
Right, and Tony, this is after all the Christmas special for 2025, and I guess the Santa ought to come back into the screen. So tell me about the Carol experience that you had last. We talked about it, I think, 2 episodes ago. How was it?
Well, as I'm sure I've mentioned on several occasions, Santa, can you? Yeah, yeah. I am a if I'm not working, I am spending time with my family. I do a lot of things related to music, and I performed in a carol concert last night at a venue not far from me here in Bristol. I think we performed to about 200 people, and it was absolutely wonderful,
Hmm.
beautiful, fantastic acoustics. The audience were really up for singing. They were completely engaged. There was a children's nativity. We had about 8 musicians playing, which was wonderful. So the sound was so full, including a string quartet. It was just brilliant. Yeah, Christmas carols done properly, I think, extremely powerful.
Mm. All right, so it's also probably a good time for wishing our audience Merry Christmas. So Tony, do you have any words for them?
Um, well, just I'd like to wish everybody a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, however, whatever way you want me to express it, and a really happy and healthy 2026. We
Yeah.
look forward to seeing you in the new year.
Yeah, and I also wish everyone who's watching and listening in Merry Christmas,
And, s-
Happy
and
Holidays.
so does Santa.
Yes, and until the next time, maybe it'll be a New Year special. Tony, could you? I know that you're going on vacation very soon, and you may
Oh
not
no, but
have.
don't worry. I'll be making myself available for the during between Christmas and New Year.
All right, great. With that, so I bring all of us to the end of episode 131, and until the next time, which hopefully is a New Year's special episode. This is Dr. Kike signing off. Bye, Tony.
Happy New Year, everyone, or even Happy Christmas. Not Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Bye bye.